Hello everyone, you all are most welcome in this class. Status and role. Earlier we have discussed about social group, family, association, institution, what is sociology, subject matter, scope of sociology. And status and role is very important concept in sociology. So everyone say, what is your status, what is our status, his status, him status. So here we could understand in a universal or scientific manner in sociology about status and role. Generally the status of a person try to understand someone's position in society, someone's status to whom. The status of any person is high or some person is low, but when we look at society from a scientific point of view, actually this is the position that a person gets into the social system. What is our position in social system? That is a status. What is our position in social system? Position is our status. And suppose, for example, if a person is a teacher or doctor, it is social situation. Each situation is associated with a number of tasks called roles, number of function, work, that is role. After getting position or a status, we have to perform some roles, some work on that status, that is called role. For example, teacher's job is to teach and test. These are roles of a teacher. A status is a scientific and important concept of sociology. It is the basis of society. In its absence, the social system cannot imagine. This is why Bierstedt says society is a network of social condition or social statuses. Society is a network of social status. It is clear on the basis that society is not a group of individuals, but rather it is the status of system. Also the dynamic role of the conditions that make up the social structure. We have tried to define in different ways. Bierstedt wrote that society is a network of social statuses, and meaning on definition of a status, we could understand the definition of a status with various scientists. Linton, very popular, Ralph Linton first described about the status and role. Under social order, the position that a person gets at a particular time is called social status, according to Ralph Linton. John Levy. In a social structure, the name of the entirety of position in the institution of an individual is the status. According to Bierstedt, generally a status is a position in a society or group. This is very, very simple and good definition we can understand. According to Eqbal Nimkov, the simplest definition of a status is that represent the position of individual in the group. So must remember, must write this. And Eliot and Merrill told, a status is the designation of a person that a person receives it in a group due to gender, income, family, and occupation. McIver Page is very eminent scholar in sociology. A status is a social term and determines the individual's qualities and amount of respect, prestige, and influence of a person apart from social services. So it is clear from the above definition that a status is indicative of position of the individual in the society, position. And the person can get this position on the basis of their merits and ability. The position of one person is always compared to the position of other people. Person alone has no status. That is when we say that a person is a teacher, it means that someone of his or her student also. That is very important. So now we will understand the essential element of status and role. What are the essential elements of status and role? The first point, the same situation and role is maintained by different people in their own way. Same position, the role performed by different way. The concept of a status and role can only be understood in the context of other people. The status and role of one person is related to the position and role of other people who are influenced by them. Every society has a status and by factors and values related to it. Culture itself determines who will be given which status and what role it will play. A person wears many positions at one time, but he is not able to maintain all with equal ability and efficiency. All persons have different quality and ability to perform role, but status can take, but role become different of vary person to person. Each position is situation is in the term of position. Each position is associated with particular value and prestige that is determined by culture. For example, in Western countries, women have higher reputation than India. Each position and role is only one part of a person's entire social office. On the basis of a status and role, the whole society is divided into various status group. On the basis of these conditions group, we can find out the characteristics of society. There are certain statuses provided in the society which a person gives to society itself. And on the other hand, some statuses are achieved by person by his ability and effort. Matlab means there are some achieved statuses that the person have achieved with his ability, and there are some statuses which are ascribed, that has given by born and by sex. Means if someone is male, there is no ability to become a person male, it is by birth. And if someone is upper caste by birth, then he is upper caste Brahmin, Kshatriya in India. Because of he born upper, that is ascribed. Due to the higher and low condition in the society, social stratification and differentiation can arise, which can be vertical or horizontal form. Now, essential element of characteristics of a status. A status cannot, here a situation is actually a status. A status cannot be separated from role. A status and role are interrelated, and if status is role, isolated form of status cannot be isolated from role, and role, if societies do not have requirement, status are not required to perform roles. Access to computer in tribal village, no, and this is because they do not need to be all. A status is relative. Any situation in itself is of no importance. It is always relative, because the relation of a status related the work to society and its group. A status is manifestation of socialization, and it is common that in societies where the division of labor is very common, the conditions are minimal. The more the metropolis cities is, the more it will be in the metropolitan and capitalistic cities. A status is prestige. Prestige, we are reiterating the status quo is associated with the need of society, and a status is also associated with performance. It is called role. Without role, a status has no meaning. The situation whose we can say there is two aspects of a coin, a status and role. A status is definition of the essential of society. Tribal living in the Trobriand island go to hunt fish in their boat. Malinowski explained that this tribe men have to bear many danger in the sea. They are afraid that stormy waves of the sea may never swallow their boat. To avoid this part, tie the boat with magic. The need of society here is to prepare the status of sorcerers. This means that all statuses in the society are for the fulfillment of need of society. So statuses are based on the need of society. Kinds of status. I already discussed that there are two kinds of status: ascribed status and achieved status. Ascribed means that status a person got from by birth, a status that a person received from his society without any effort on their own are called conferred statuses or ascribed. Also clearly due to being born in a particular family or in traditional way by being valid. When a person has received many specific status, he is given the status of, for example, in caste structure, the Brahmin gain a higher status from a traditional view on lower status for Sudras only because of this, that they are born in certain special family. So, similarly, the status that a father or mother attain is a position accepted by tradition, since a person is a mother or father. For this reason, the society gives him a special status, which is called the status as ascribed status. And second one is achieved status. The status or position that a person achieved through his personal effort, that is personal effort, called earned status. In fact, successes and failure are found in individuals' field of every society. Successful people achieve high status in society, while unsuccessful people remain in low status. Thus, their social status depends on the ability and effort of the individual. For example, if an illiterate person today becomes a scholar by his personal effort, in the future and attain a high status in society, then it will be his earned or achieved status. Once more in this regard, and it is necessary to achieve such earned status. Not that a person must get social facilities. Always some people in the society are so enlightened, progressively skilled and important that even if they do not get any kind of facility, they acquire important condition or position like social leader. That is why every era there are people who create history and have the ability to change the entire social structure in such a way that the nature of society changes and they themselves get the highest social status. Hitler, Mussolini, Gandhi, etc. Life of Jawaharlal Nehru, Lal Bahadur is witness to this achieved status. Base of determinant of a status. The status of any person is determined on several grounds. Some of the major grounds for determining the status provide are as follow. I will highlight, and the first one is birth. Depending on which family, caste or species the person is born, the status is also determined. Kinship. On the basis of kinship, one gets many situations or position. A person has relationship with his parents and blood relative. He attains many position only because of being relative to him. Just suppose if someone is father, someone is uncle, someone is uncle, and someone is sister and brother. This is from kinships. Understand? Age differences like sex, age distinction is also a definite and obvious physical symptom, but it is also variable fact. In all the cultures of the world, on the basis of age, status difference is found. Age is divided into level of infant, child, youth, adult, adolescence, old. Different condition, status, position are provided to people different age in the society, and it is also necessary to have certain age for a particular position. Sex dichotomy. The sex of the baby is definite and directly visible physical sign at birth, which remain lifelong. In almost all cultures, there is difference in the position and roles of men and women. Generally, the position of men is found to be higher than that of women. In Western culture, women are considered weak, soft, passionate, easygoing, believers, religious, and monogamous. In India also the status of women has been lower than men, and they are considered as abla, weak, maid and property. Caste and race. Caste and race is also main base of determining the status of a person in India. The status of those person in the higher caste, such as Brahmin, Kshatriya and Vaishya, is considered to be higher than those born in Sudra, an untouchable caste. Physical ability. Many positions are provided to a person based on his physical characteristics. A beautiful person is better than black, and ugly is stronger than the weak, and sicker than sick person, and stronger than a sick, and a healthy and capable person has a higher social status than a person. Now we will look the achieved status and determinant of achieved status. Education, occupation, wealth, marriage, division of labor, etc. are related and conditioned on the basis of success and failure of the person. He also get social prestige in general: compassionate, intelligent, capable, talented, courageous, powerful, give all importance to person. Professor Davis says that such people are always in the society who are so clever, talented, powerful, capable, ambitious that after conquering many obstacles, they become the leader of the society. The history of each country and every society is illuminated by their immortal name. They create history. They are in front of controlling other people and bringing change in society. So they make their important place in society. Base of determinant of achieved status. We have seen the base of determination of ascribed status. Here we will look the determinant of achieved status. So first one is education. BA and MA and diploma and trained person have higher status than educated than non-educated, less educated person compared to illiterate. Occupation. Business also determines the social status of an individual. IAS, doctor, engineer, professor's post, peon, mill worker, farmer, shoemaker are considered to be higher of occupation. Wealth. Property is an important factor in determining the rank of a person. A person has a high or low status only on the basis of having or not possessing property. Often the social status of the bourgeoisie is higher than that of poor. In the modern era, people who have more material comfort are considered higher. The status of a person is not determined only by wealth, but it is also seen how that property has been acquired. Achievements. Various achievements achieved by a person. Hard work also determines his social status. These achievements can be in the field of religious, social, political, educational, economic, and sports. Marriage. Marriage is also provide many position status to a person. On getting marriage, husband, wife, parents, and other status position like brother-in-law, Jawai, daughter-in-law, sister-in-law, etc. are obtained. That is status gaining. Political authority. On the basis of political power, distinction is made between the ruler and government. People with power and political right have higher status than ordinary people. In democracy, people belonging to the ruling party, leading leader of the opposition party have higher status. And now we will discuss about role. As we have discussed earlier about role, status and role are interrelated. Status is a position in society and role is dynamic aspect of a status. Role is performance, role is work, how you work with your position, with your status. Role is dynamic behavior of aspect of status. Status are assumed while roles are performed. The way a person fulfills the responsibility related to a post, a status, and consumed the facilities and features related to it called role. For example, the office of the president is a status quo. There are some responsibilities and duties related to this status. It is role of the president. The person who plays the role of the president also has some privilege and some important definition. Linton described the term role refers to particular situation. Thus, a role is related to particular status. The role includes all attitudes, social values, behavior, society or individual related to a particular position have to offer and Eliot and Merrill, role is the task or work that an individual play according to each situation. Situation means position. Yes, Eqbal and Nimkov, role is sum of social expectation and behavior pattern related to a specific position in a group. You must remember one or two definitions at least and understand. Lundberg, social role is a pattern of expected behavior from an individual in a group. And Ginsberg, status is a position while role is the anticipated way of fulfill it. Very good. And Kimball Young, the person who does our work, we call it role. So, thus it is clear that due to the holding a position, the type of work that society expects of a person is called a role. Linton considered the role to be a behavioral or dynamic aspect of a status. No situation in society is single or one-sided. It is important in relative to anyone. When we say a teacher, he is ready to say that there is a student too. The teacher alone does not have any status. In the same way that no role in society is single or unilateral. Each role is important only in the context of other position and roles. This can be explained by the following formula: characteristics of role. We will see here the main features of the role. Roles are rooted in a status. There can be discussion on the role keeping in the position separate. The second, role is not in zero. It has a strong cultural aspect. It is not isolated. This is the criterion of cultural aspect. Therefore, whatever the role is, the norm of society are associated with it. There is a system of punishment in three criteria. This arrangement is both formal and informal. This means that if the role was not fulfilled in any situation, then the punishment system is also associated with it. Role is not unilateral, it is always relative. If you are telling that someone is teacher, so here someone is a student. If you are telling someone is doctor, the role of doctor, then you will, it is relative to patient. When the situation is not rooted, it is dynamic. Then in this sense, role also move. Therefore, both status and role are dynamic. Some key concept related the role. Role. Rolf Linton divided the role into two parts. And ascribed status, ascribed role, and achieved role. The role assigned related to the given status is called assigned role. Achieved role, the role related to the earned status is called earned role. Means ascribed role and achieved role. Banton mentioned three roles: basic role, independent role, and general role. Basic role under primitive society, it is quite difficult to separate one role from another. Different type of roles are interrelated and dependent in such a way that basic role predominate in society. Many people play the same role simultaneously and there is no role duality between them. The distribution of role in subfamily is usually based on age or sexuality. Independent role. As the society develops, different roles are separated from each other. In modern society, the nature of role changes in such a way that the interdependencies between different roles are reduced. General role, this situation between the two, position between the two. SF Nadal has divided the role into two parts, relational role and non-relational role. Such types of question comes in always asked in examination, in MCQ and in UGC NET examination. Relational role and non-relational role, who describes this? This is described by SF Nadal. You can say this is described by SF Nadal. Important concept related to a status and role. A status set, R.K. Merton said, no person can ever have only one status. There are so many status in his life. Apart from this, that and many other conditions, status through his action or effort. If the person conferred and earned status is added together, then it is called a status set. Multiple of role. It is also described by R.K. Merton. The dynamic side of the status set called multiple of role. All role together, it is called multiple of role. Role set. It is also defined by R.K. Merton. Term has given by R.K. Merton. If a person has single position, single status, and all roles are together with a single status, that is called role set. A doctor treat male, take information about medicine from medical representative, physician go into the meeting of association, that all role related to a single status is called role set. Suppose if a teacher has a position of teacher and all role regarding teaching is role set. Role conflict. It is R.K. Merton said, when a person's two roles at the same time is contradictory to expect, they are called role conflict. X is the father and doctor also. If his son expect him to take her to show him Sunday's fair. While going to the fair, a call received from his hospital that a patient has become unconscious. In such situation, Mr. X will be caught in the role of a conflict, a struggle to discharge the role of father or doctor. No matter how systematic or stable a person is in the world, he must fall into the role conflict, because a person has multiple of role associated with all positions. Another person is connected at one end of those roles. Therefore, he will only make expectation. Probably in the same way, people will not get involved in role duality. Now, role-taking concept. This concept has been given by G.H. Mead as soon as a person received a position. Also has clear role expectation. The person is expected to take those roles. If the person does the same, then it's called the role taking. Different between ascribed and achieved status, as we told earlier, ascribed role is given by society, is by birth, is depend upon the highest family, depend upon the ascribed things. It is not by effort, it depends upon the family background, it depends upon the race, it depends upon the sex, and achieved status depends upon the qualification, education, achieved ability. Understand? And these are the concepts regarding the ascribed and achieved status. So these are the concept of ascribed. I think you did understand the status of developing countries different from that of developed society, and situation in primitive society always refer to the situation in primitive society, unlike the place which is in developing society. So it also varies from society to society, where which types of status is more often. Suppose in primitive society there was more ascribed status, but in modern society we will find that there are the importance of achieved status and ability of a person to achieve a status by his will, by his capability. I think you could understand, you can understand it easily, and you have understood. Thank you, all the best. If you have any suggestion, you can make a comment and you can clarify it. Thank you very much.